So the earlier service, I asked all of you, what do you know about sheep? Anybody do any sheep farming here? Anybody going to confess? Because I'll tell you what a farmer told me at 9 o'clock. She said, sheep have brains like feathers. A friend who went to Palestine said that he hung out with shepherds there, and I had the pleasure recently to be there and watch the shepherds hard at work, especially in the Palestinian territories and the Arab world. There's a lot of sheep and a lot of shepherding. He said they have two jobs, the shepherds. They got to feed them, and they have to protect them. Feed and protect. And don't always expect them to follow, but they'll follow each other. But Jesus has got a very interesting image here for us about a shepherd who helps them go in and out of the fold and protects them from the thieves. So I was reflecting on what are these thieves in this day and age, because this truly is a metaphor. We haven't, not too many of us here have been shepherds and sheep, I should say, farmers. So I go to a younger minister's reflection on this, which I could say would probably really relate well to at least my son and a lot of kids who love to game. So here's the deal. There's games. I played outdoor games, but I didn't play games that they play today. There's a game called Civilization. So my son can go to his residence over in Waterloo, and the boys say hi to each other. They go to their separate rooms, and they start playing Civilization. And they might be playing someone in Japan as well, but they play these games. And next thing you know, like Netflix and binge watching of movies, like the entire day can just disappear. So a young minister says, when reflecting on this passage, he was into StarCraft, was another big game. He said for him, the sheepfold is a place of safety. And he found it in just playing these games and losing his life basically in the games. And what the shepherd Jesus was teaching him in his journey was to go out beyond this sheepfold, to risk, and to trust that the shepherd will watch over you and take care of you. And he went a little further and he said, for some of us, the comfort might be just to have one more drink. Just give us a little more comfort. Whatever that might be to protect you and keep you in the fold, Jesus with the gate wants to open it up and lead you out into the world of life. Because he says, I've come so that you might have life and have it abundantly. But here's the deal. To have it life abundantly, you're going to have to do a little bit of risking. So I take you to my 85-year-old friend. I remember Audrey at the 9 o'clock service said to me afterwards, did you say a little old lady, 85 little old lady? I said, no, she's 85. And there's a reason why I'm telling you her age. She's been battling with a hip issue, and my wife, being an OR nurse, has told her for years, please, get that taken care of, right? And it's a difficult thing to face that. Her friends said to her recently, we believe you have a lot of courage. You are going for surgery. She had it last week. I spent the day with her. She's recovering well at Toronto Rehab. She's incredibly courageous. And she looks to her friends, and she looks to me, and she goes, I'm not courageous. And I said, well, at 85, I think it's pretty courageous to go for surgery. She said, I've had so much pain. And anybody here who lives with chronic pain will appreciate that there comes a point where you just say, I got to get it done. And that's to the point where she's at. And that means risking so that she might have life of quality. And that's what she's willing to do. And I commend her and all who take that risk. And she placed her trust. I believe she placed her trust in her shepherd. And so I'm placing my trust in the shepherd God that I trust loves me and loves each of you in this sabbatical. 28 years of ministry, this is my second sabbatical. My last sabbatical, I was in Milton. I was surely, after about 9 years of ministry, burnt out. I was like, I could hardly wait for that sabbatical. In fact, John Butters came from Guelph. I knew John a little bit, but he had had a sabbatical here at Harcourt. At that point, it hadn't become national policy. So I was like, please, St. Paul's, maybe would you consider a sabbatical? Because I see that healthy ministry can happen. And John Butter spoke to the congregation about what it had helped, how it helped him in ministry. So here I am. I'm not burnt out. I'm really happy to say that. But I'm feeling very good about the adventure that awaits me. So here's why a sabbatical is important for me to go outside the sheepfold to do a little bit of risking. Colleague said this yesterday at a workshop. Barbara was with me at the conference office. I've known her for many years. He's a retired minister, and he said, I talked to my surgeon friend, this is near Walkerton Way, and he says, my doctor friend used to be a minister, a priest actually, an Anglican priest. And I said to him one day, why'd you leave the priesthood and become a surgeon? And the doctor looked at him and said, I wanted to do something that was a little less complex than the church. I hear this from a partner in my life. Great surgeons often, not always, but they'd rather be in the OR than having to deal with the people stuff, because their skill is in the OR, in the surgery. What happens in ministry is that we get kind of on this, almost like this train of doing, and we don't even recognize how much caring that we've done. Maybe how many funerals we've done, the accumulation of grief, the conflicts that we're mediating at times, just the stresses just build up. And at times I think as ministers we think, well, this is just what we do. But we have blind spots. And thankfully some of us have partners in our lives, spouses, friends who say, hey, I kind of heard it on my trip to France. My son and my wife said, man, you got to learn to relax a little bit. You're not a very patient person. What are you talking about? Well, this sabbatical for me is about learning how to be more patient. I said to my daughter the other day, I'm challenging myself. I need to learn how to spend time alone. I don't do that very easily. My wife loves it. I don't do it well. My daughter looks at me and I said, well, I'm thinking about, this retreat center, that retreat. My daughter looks at me and she said, Dad, you love to canoe, you love to camp. Just go get lost. She's right. I need to do that and do it just by myself. That's certainly a part of it. I want to really get comfortable with the earth again. My grandfather was a farmer. My dad did not like farming. I discovered many years ago I love gardening, and I'm going to have a real vegetable garden this year, not just a 2x2. That's one of the earliest priorities I'm starting on next week. I also have a great interest in travel, and I'm so excited to go out to, I want to go Maritimes one day, believe me, I do want to go back there, but for various reasons, I have friends in Winnipeg, Regina, Calgary, Vancouver, the island as well. And I am so blessed that I can go and visit some church friends. I can, as ministers need to, I can worship, not just lead it, but actually go and worship. I can experience this journey with a young man who's 22, he's my nephew. You don't know this journey, but about 7 years ago, Jeffrey was in a catastrophic car accident. We didn't know for many weeks whether he would live. We didn't know if he would ever have quality of life again. And he is a walking miracle. He and I have a very similar personality. My sister's the first to say, my family's the first to say it. I hope you guys don't drive each other crazy driving across Canada. But we've put some parameters. We've put a little covenant together. And he is really excited to see Canada. Although I thought I would get, this is already, I'll tell you, I said, well, we can get to Winnipeg in about 2.5 days. Oh, no. He doesn't want to get to Winnipeg for about 6 days. He's got about 4 days in Thunder Bay. He's already planned. So he's already starting to slow me down. He's got a lot of Northern Ontario that he wants to experience. So 2 weeks today we'll be venturing off together, and I suspect we'll be on the road for about 3 weeks. That is a lot to look forward to. Friendships, experiences, and as Jeffrey knows, my nephew, he, like me, the best part of that trip will be going to coffee shops and small towns across Canada and just hanging out with regular people and finding out how beautiful this country is at 150 years. So that's some of my sabbatical. I also want to highlight that Jerry Fryer, sitting in the back pew here, a retired professor. I loved what Jerry said to me recently. Don't forget to do some writing. And I will be doing some writing. I think one of the gifts that 3 months isn't a long time, but I won't necessarily have a book written, but it is certainly a good time to do thoughtful reflection. And so often in ministry, you're rushing back to get to what you have to do at the church. So, my friends, I want to conclude with this. Jesus says, I come so you might have life abundantly and wholly. I feel this is an incredible gift that you give to me. I see the difference in Galen after her Camino walk and her Sabbath time. She's really a new person. And each of our sabbaticals are unique. But I feel really affirmed and loved by you for this sabbatical. And I thank you for that. And I also am going to learn a great lesson that Trinity is going to be just fine, even thrive without my presence here. I hope you miss me a little bit. I will miss you. But that's a great lesson that ministry is far greater than any one person. And so, my friends, I know that your prayers will be with me, and I know the extended TT energy of love from each and every one of you will guide me. So why a sabbatical? Well, my friends, I hope and trust that I'm going to learn lots, and John Benham is going to come back renewed and ready for ministry. So God bless you all.